Hello, welcome back to Learn How to Write Online. This is Lesson 2, How to Write SEO. Now, SEO is just an acronym that means Search Engine Optimization, and it is the most important acronym you can know for writing online. You're going to be asked by a lot of potential clients and regular clients, can you write SEO? And unless you've already looked it up, you're not going to know what it is. SEO is writing for the search engine. Now, the search engine you're writing for is Google. If you don't know what all that means, it simply means that when you go online and you enter a search term, and we're going to use Google Chrome as an example. So if you go into Google Chrome, google.com, and you enter a search for, let's say, eBay, you're just writing in the search bar. All right, you're going to, after you press enter, you're going to get a list of results, okay? And you're going to get the top result and all the ones after that. And the way these results are ranked is based on how relevant they are to your search. And there's a whole lot of math and stuff that goes on behind the scenes there to give you the best search results, okay? You're writing for Google's search engine, okay? But there are other search engines that people will use, like Bing, and I can't even think of any other ones because no one really uses the other ones. But you can be sure that all the other ones are trying to play catch up to Google, and they're going to copy what they're doing as best as they can. They don't have the money and resources to copy exactly what Google's doing, but everyone else is trying to do what Google is doing. So if you're writing for Google, if you are optimizing your content for Google's search engine, it will be optimized for everybody else, okay? So you got to know what Google is looking for, how their search results rank, because your clients want the articles, the blogs, the press releases, the short stories, whatever you're writing for them, the product reviews, all that. They want it all to rank well on Google, okay? So they want you to write in such a way that Google will not only accept what you've written and not penalize it, but that Google will also put it high up in the search results. So if someone is looking for quilting patterns through Google, and you wrote a blog about quilting patterns for your client, they want your blog to come up high on the list when people search for quilting patterns on Google, okay? You may be working for a business like a plumbing business, okay, or a roofing business, and they want people to be able to find their business when they search online. So they're looking for you to know what Google is doing, what Google is looking for, and to write in such a way that Google will rank their business highly, okay? That when someone does a search for maybe roofing in San Antonio, Texas, that their business will be one of the top results, okay? So there are a lot of things that go into this. This is the key, the most important part to writing online, okay? Finding a job is hard. Making sure you're not getting scammed can be hard. Getting paid can be hard. But writing for SEO, writing in a way that optimizes your work for search engines is the key to it all. If you can't do this, you're not going to get the rest of it, because it all ties into this, it all hinges on this, okay? Once you have this, you can figure the other stuff out for yourself, I think, but this is the key part of it, okay? So you've got to get this. All right, so we're going to spend a lot of time in it. We're going to go slowly. We're going to cover as many aspects as I think are relevant, and there may be more to it that you want to search and you want to learn and you want to find out. That's fine. I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to research SEO. Okay, but I'm going to give you the basics to get started. All right, so with search engine optimization, you are making your content high quality first of all. Okay, it's got to be well written. It's got to be readable. It's got to be something that someone would enjoy reading. Okay, and it can't copy anybody else's work. You can copy ideas. You can take an article that someone else has written and rewrite it in your own words. That's perfectly acceptable. You can still rank well doing that. But if you copy word for word, phrase for phrase, even if you spread out a little bit of copying here, a little bit of copying there, you will get penalized. Your client will get penalized. Their website will not show up well on the search results, if at all. Okay? So you never want to copy another person's work exactly. You can copy ideas, never copy phrases. I'm careful to not even quote other people because that can get you in trouble. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're not even using the same words together. And we'll get into that when we get into plagiarism and how to write certain things. We'll get into that a little bit more, but just as a cautionary precursor to all that, just be really careful you're not copying other blogs and other websites' words exactly. Don't even copy exactly from a book. All right, make it original, make it high quality. And in order to make it high quality, you got to know how to write. You have to edit and read over what you've written and make sure it makes sense, make sure it's grammatically correct. Okay, and then you also want to split your article into different parts. Okay, whatever you're writing. This doesn't apply to fiction. This applies to blog articles. It applies to press releases sometimes. It applies to product reviews for sure. Okay? You want to have a heading. Okay? Let's do an example of this. Let's say someone has asked you to write a roofing article to promote their website. So they want you to teach someone how to repair a roof. All right? So you've done the research. You have looked at other articles on how to repair a roof, and now you're going to write your own version of it. Okay? So you're going to start with a title, whatever your title is. Okay? And then under that, you're going to have an introduction. This is pretty basic writing stuff. A lot of us did this in school, but it's maybe not be something we've used, okay? And it's really, really important to SEO. All right, so have your introduction. This can be 1 or 2 paragraphs long. Let's talk about paragraphs for just a second. Your paragraph should be anywhere from 2 to 5 sentences long. If they are longer than that, then people will just not read your paragraph. They'll skip to the next paragraph. They're looking for something that is accessible. So if you present your reader with a wall of text, this huge wall of text, as one big block paragraph, they're not going to read all that. Most of them won't unless they're really interested in what you've written about. Okay? So you're looking to engage the reader, to draw their attention, to keep them interested. Because what you don't want is for someone to click on the page and then go back to the previous page. That's what your client doesn't want. You may not care about that as a writer, but your client is looking for content that people are reading all the way through, and people are coming back to and recommending to other people. So you want to write high quality stuff, you want it to be accessible, and you don't want to have great big blocks of text. So if your paragraph is 1 or 2 sentences long, sometimes that's too short, and you may need to flesh it out, fill it up a little bit. Don't do filler, but make your paragraphs worth making a paragraph out of. If you just have 1 or 2 sentences, it may not need its own paragraph. You may be able to combine it, okay, with other paragraphs. All right, so paragraphs should be anywhere from 3 to 5 sentences long. Try not to go over that. If you have a bunch of short sentences, that's okay to make it a little longer than 5 sentences long, okay? Your introduction should be no longer than 2 paragraphs. After that, you will need your first point. Okay? This can be called a subheading as well, and you will need at least 2 points, preferably 3, however many your client will want, and your client will many times give you directions, especially if this is the first time you've worked for them. Your client may say, I want every article to have 3 points, and I want every article to be referenced, and all this other stuff. Talk to your client, find out what they want. What I'm giving you is general information that you can apply to most things. A lot of clients will just say, here's what I want you to write about, go with it. Write me 500 words, write me 1,000 words on this topic. And that's all the direction they may give you, and that's fine. You got to be able to know how to work with it. You got to be able to know how to make it SEO compatible, optimized for the search engine. So your first point, write about it, a few paragraphs. Write your second point, all right? Now, another thing SEO is looking for is something that is visually appealing. You make that visually appealing by breaking up into points. You make it visually appealing to the reader by keeping your paragraph short. And you also make it visually appealing by making it look diverse. So that means you have some bullet point lists in there sometimes, okay? And some of your clients will demand bullet point lists in every single article. They're looking for maybe pros and cons. They're maybe looking for a list of features. It really helps with the SEO if you can fit some bullet point lists or something like that in there, okay? That not only gives your viewer something else, or your reader something else to look at besides just big paragraphs, but it kind of breaks up the flow and indents a little bit and just makes everything look a little more alive and a little more accessible to your reader. It doesn't look like paragraph, 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 okay, because that can be intimidating to some readers. All right, so bullet points are a really good way to break things up, to keep things high quality, to show that you're putting a little thought into your work, and they're also a good way to just grab your reader's interest, because some people will scroll down until they see a bullet point list, and then they're stopping, then they're looking. All right, so you got to think about your reader as you're writing. Think about what you might want to read, what looks good to you. All right, so you have your points, you have paragraphs in between your points, and you have a conclusion at the end. Does that show up? That doesn't really show up on the camera. All right, we're going to write conclusion here. Conclusion is simply to sum up what you've said, just kind of maybe talk about your points a little bit, kind of say something along the lines of, I hope you enjoyed this, I hope you found it informational, please check out the rest of our site, let us know if you have any questions or comments, that sort of thing. It can be a call to action, it doesn't have to be, but it should be a simple summary of what you've written, or just something to close it out with, all right? And it ties your whole article together. It shows you put a little more thought into it. It looks really good for the reader. It looks really good for the client, and search engine optimization likes it as well, okay? Your points, you don't have to number. That's up to your client and how many points you have. I wouldn't number them if you only have 2. All right, if you have 3 or more, numbering is okay. Once again, refer to your client if you have any questions about these sorts of things. All right, let's talk about keywords. Keywords are very, very important to SEO. You will mess up things really, really bad if you get the keywords wrong. So I'm going to give you this magic little number here, 1.5%. That is your keyword consistency, and I would be very careful about going over that. I would be careful about going under it as well. So let's explain what keywords are first of all. Those are the words your client will say, this is what I want you to use in your blogs. So if you're writing roof repair, then your client may say, I want you to write an article on roof repair San Antonio. That's not your title. That's your keyword. Roof repair San Antonio is not really a title. Okay? That's the keyword that your client has found will work for them, for their business. So they have used a keyword searcher or done some sort of research, and you can download apps that do the same thing for you, okay? But they have found out what keywords are relevant to them, what people are looking for in their area and in their business. And they said this ranks well with Google according to their research, and they want you to use that keyword. Use the keywords they tell you to, use exactly the keywords they tell you to. They may ask you to write on a keyword like roof repair San Antonio 2020. Now, you may not know how to make that go into a sentence very smoothly, and so you may ask them, hey, can I add a little in or and here, a little connecting word. Check with them before you do that. Unless you have your client's permission, do not add any words into your keyword. All right, let's give you an example here. All right, so roof repair Texas 2020. Okay, I get keywords like this all the time, and you want to be very careful about how you fit these into sentences. Your keywords should be incorporated naturally into your sentences. They should not be all by themselves, usually, as their own sentence, because they usually won't make sense as a sentence on their own. You usually have to incorporate them into your paragraphs, okay? And you don't want to stuff your paragraphs full. That applies to the 1.5% here, very important, okay? So when they give you a keyword like this, they write an article on roof repair Texas 2020, okay? So you can write your article making sure that you add this keyword in here no more than 1.5% of the time. So if you have 1,000 words, how many times are you putting your keyword in? Well, you're putting in it 1.5 times. Well, you can't put it in 0.5 times, so you're going to put in your keyword 1 time, okay? And that's enough, generally, to make the article show up on Google and to do well. All right. If you put in this keyword 10 times in 1,000 words, that is going to not just look bad to the reader and look like you are blatantly selling something. No one wants to be blatantly sold anything. They want you to romance them, basically. Okay? That's how advertising works. It won't only make it look bad to the reader, okay, and look like a blatant sales pitch, but it's also going to hurt the page on Google. It won't be search engine optimized. It won't be made right for SEO. So that's why I say stick to this 1.5%. If your client says you can do more than that, that's okay. That's entirely up to your client. Okay? I get a lot of work from a client who wants me to put their keyword in 3 times every 1,000 words, and that's okay. All right? That works for them because they kind of own their niche. But for clients who are struggling and businesses who are struggling to get up there in the search results, you can help them out by sticking to the 1.5 and not stuffing it full of keywords and not using the keywords too sparingly. So if you have 2,000 words, you're sticking to 1.5 because your client didn't give you any direction about how many times to use the keyword. If you have 2,000 words of content, you can have the keyword in there 3 times, okay? And that's not going to get you penalized by Google at all. Okay, Google is looking for things, article content that look like they're written well. And if you're just stuffing it full of your ads of your keywords, because keywords are ads, okay? If you're stuffing it full of keywords, then it looks like something that a reader might not want to read. And Google wants people to click on its search results and use its search engine. And if it's just showing them a bunch of spammy stuff, a bunch of keyword stuff things, then people are not going to use Google as much, okay? So Google's looking to protect itself. Your client's looking to protect himself. And so you need to protect yourself and your client by writing well and by keeping your keywords to a minimum, okay? Now you can use other versions of this. If you can naturally fit them in, you can do things like Texas roof repair. That is not the same keyword, all right? It could even be 2020 Texas roof repair. It uses the same word, but it's not the same keyword, okay? So this is not your client's keyword. This is, okay? That's the one they want you to use. And sometimes they may say it's okay to use other versions of that. What they mean is it's okay to move the words around a little bit to add more of that type of phrasing into the article. But once again, be careful about how much you're using. If you use any phrase too much in your article, it looks like you're not putting much effort into it. What if you had a way you spoke and a way you wrote where you always included the sentence, I really like fast cars, and you put it in your introduction, you put it in your first point, you put it in your second point, you put it in your conclusion, you're stuffing it, it's not going to be interesting to read if you're using the same sentence over and over and over again, okay? It looks like shoddy writing, it looks like there's not much effort put in. And so that's the same thing with keywords. You want to be careful about how much you use them and how often you use them and how long your article is compared to how much you're using. So remember this percentage, and if your client says to do something different, follow your client. Your client is the boss, okay? All right, now we need to talk about Google's updates. Google will update its search engines from time to time, and these are called different cute animal names like penguin and panda and hummingbird. I think hummingbird was the first one. These are basically just names for their major updates. Every now and then, Google will make big updates to its search engine and change how it looks for things. In the beginning, it was okay to Google stuff, okay? To keyword stuff in Google, all right? You could fill your articles full of keywords, and that's what a lot of people did. And it was just blatant advertising. It wasn't any fun to read. No one liked it. And Google started to penalize it. They put out a new update, and they changed things. And every now and then, they'll put out a new update. They'll give it an animal name, okay? I think penguin is the most recent one. Anyways, you want to kind of keep up with these as they change. And so as Google started to change and grow and develop and become more sophisticated and more complicated, the search engine formula got a lot more complicated. So instead of just looking for what you typed in the search bar. They're now looking to rank things that are written well, things that are not plagiarized, things that are original, things that are relevant to the keyword. Okay? And they're looking for all these things that we've already talked about. How much you're using the keywords, how you're breaking up the paragraphs, if you're using headings and titles and all of that, and you're using bullet points. It's looking for all that. When you put in a simple little search, such as you're looking for roof repair, simple little search like roof repair, the search engine has all these formulas working behind the scenes to find you relevant stuff, to find you high quality stuff. And everything we've talked about is going into that. All right? So you got to be really careful about Google's updates. And as Google updates, Bing and everyone else is going to update. And they're going to kind of follow along what Google's doing as best they can. So just keep up with Google. Don't worry about the other ones. All right? That's who your clients are concerned about as well. That's who they're searching for keywords for and all of that. And that's where they're looking for rankings. Okay? They're looking for their site to rank well on Google. So stay up to date on the Google updates. They usually have a big update every couple of years. It doesn't happen too often. You don't have to keep checking all the time. But stay up with it. I think there's been about, I don't know, 2 or 3 updates since I've been writing, and I didn't even know about it at first, and I kind of had to learn that that's something I have to look out for. So look out for those updates every now and then, all right? You also want to write very high quality work. You want to write personable, in a personable manner, like a conversational style many times. That's general to blogs, to product reviews, okay? If you're writing a press release or a news story, obviously it won't be personable. It won't be in first person, okay? But you generally want to write in a conversational style that's easy to read, easy to understand. Be careful about using words that are too big. Be careful about using words that don't apply and examples that don't apply to what you're writing about. So if you're writing a product review for an ironing board, you don't want to put a bunch of examples. Maybe you like cars, okay? And you're writing a bunch of examples in there comparing ironing boards to cars for some reason, just because you feel like you have to fit that in because that's your thing, that's what you want to write about, okay? Well, you're writing about ironing boards, so write about ironing boards. It's okay to maybe have one example or one metaphor in there that doesn't relate to it so much, you know? If that's just your style and you're trying to explain things, that's okay. But if you are always going off topic and you're writing about different things that don't apply to the keyword specifically, then you're going to get your page ranked poorly and penalized by Google. All right, one last thing for SEO that we want to talk about is called Web 2.0. All right, this is kind of tangential to SEO. Some people will tell you it doesn't really apply to SEO, but it applies to how you're supposed to be writing for the online space. And you won't see Web 2.0 too much. You might see it more in the future. It's kind of a new concept to me. I had to research it when I first heard it a few months ago. And basically what Web 2.0 means is you write in such a way that you are calling the reader to action. You're getting them to do something. And this is usually included in your conclusion, in your last couple paragraphs. You're saying something along the lines of, tell your friends, share this on your social media page, write in the comments. You're getting them to do something, maybe to send you a message, send the business a message, okay? So basically it's the business, and you're writing for the business. You're asking the reader who's looking at the business's website, you're asking them to do something that interacts with the business, interacts with the article you've written, interacts with the website in some way. Maybe like get in contact with us, share this on social media, whatever it is, all right? Or sign up for updates, or contact us if you have any questions, that sort of thing. All right, and I'm seeing a lot of it these days. Not everyone's calling it Web 2.0, but that's what it is, and Web 2.0 is basically a call to action. It doesn't have to be all throughout the article. My biggest client right now, though, is asking for Web 2.0 call to actions to be written all throughout the article, like maybe in every point. So if I have 1,000 words, I have 3 points, I'm writing it 3 different times, 3 calls to action. So I'm writing about Medicare, and I'm asking the reader to check our site for, which is my client site, for updates. or contact my client for information if you have questions, if you want to know more, if you want some help. And I'm doing that a couple times throughout the article. That's Web 2.0. That's all there is to it. It's really simple. But if your client has asked you to do that, you want to make sure you do that. It's not essential to SEO, but it does help things rank well sometimes. So, you can ask your client if that's what they want. All right, that about does it for SEO.